Swami Vedanuragananda, convener of this today national webinar, to start this proceedings.
Good afternoon and welcome all of you to today's national webinar on capacity building and career guidance organized by Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Centenary College. Today we are very glad to have Professor Sarit Kumar Das, Director IIT Ropar, amongst us. Amidst his very busy schedule, he could give us some time for enlightening all the young generation in this topic of capacity building and career guidance. So we are very grateful to have you amidst us, sir. So before we begin the webinar, I would request our Honorable Principal Maharaj, Revered Swami Kamalasthanandaji Maharaj, to kindly give away the welcome address.
Most respected Professor Sarit Kumar Das, Honorable Director, Indian Institute of Technology, Ropar, and the distinguished participants from various parts of the India, and also my dear students. We are very, very happy that our respected Professor Das is with us. He is a great scholar, he is a good student and a good teacher. More than 25 years he has teaching experience, and he has a bright student career. And in his capacity, he is now director. Previously in IIT Madras, he was there. So he has a lot of experience, and he has a lot of teaching and academic experience. And he will share afterwards with you. And for his joining this this webinar, I, on behalf of this college, on behalf of all students, faculty members, and also on behalf of all participants today, I express my heartiest regards, respect to Professor Sarit Kumar Das on behalf of all. Sir, please accept our respect and regards. Sir, and also I afterwards the convener will introduce our respected dignitary, and I only just request all the participants, please join this webinar in an open heart. You ask the question through your chat box. After the completion of this talk, all questions will be addressed. And sir, topic is also very, very relevant for today's purpose. So everything afterwards convener will tell. So I only just on behalf of me and on behalf of all, I once again welcome and express my heartiest regard to Professor Das. So thanks all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Principal Maharaj, it is my pleasure to be here.
Sir, before starting, sir, the convener will introduce us.
Please.
Just before we call upon Professor Das for his talk, we would just a few words of introduction about him. Professor Sarit Kumar Das, Director and Professor, Indian Institute of Technology, Ropar, Punjab, is currently on leave from IIT Madras, where he is a professor with the Mechanical Engineering Department and served as Dean of Academic Research in the past. After obtaining BE Mechanical in 1984 and ME in Heat Power in 1987 from Jadavpur University, he completed his PhD degree in the area of heat transfer from Sambalpur University in 1994 and joined the University of BW Hamburg, Germany, where he did his postdoc research in the area of plate and liquid metal heat exchangers. He has published 4 books and more than 250 research papers. He is a recipient of the DAD and Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship of Germany. He is a fellow of the Indian National Academy of Engineering and the National Academy of Sciences, India. He has been bestowed with several awards such as India Citation Award 2012 by Thomson Reuters and Professor K.N. Sitaramu Award and Medal for Excellence in Research by Indian Society for Heat and Mass Transfer in the year 2006. He has also been awarded the Peabody Visiting Professorship at the Mechanical Engineering Department, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Cambridge, USA in 2011. He is the editor-in-chief of the International Journal of Micro Nanoscale Transport and an associate editor of the journal Heat Transfer Engineering. His current research interests include heat transfer in nanofluids, microfluidics, biological heat transfer, nanoparticle-mediated drug delivery in cancer cells, heat exchangers, boiling in mini and micro channels, fuel cells, jet instabilities, heat transfer in porous media, and computational fluid dynamics. So we are very fortunate to have you, Ms. Das, sir, and we would request Professor Das to kindly deliver his webinar talk to all our viewers. Professor Das, please kindly.
So, Principal Maharaj, Shri Kamalasthan Nandaji, other Nazis, I do not know. I'm very happy to be in this webinar, but right at the beginning, I want to correct you one thing. I want to correct Principal Maharaj. Maharaj, you cannot show Shraddha to us, because in our society, sannyasis are the only people to whom Shraddha goes. We are, very small people. We know a little bit of Aparabhita, and with that, we try to do something for society that much. But the real knowledge is with you. The real knowledge is I have seen, and that's what I will start my talk today with, which is, I will talk about today's topic, which is career prospect for students of higher education in basic sciences, because there are various kinds of doubts, whether we have done a mistake. Basic sciences do not have as much prospect as technology and all that. Being myself a technology man, I can tell you the story is completely different. And so that's what I want to tell. What is the contemporary perspective of basic science? But at the same time, I must tell you that what all I'm going to talk, career, do not equate career to life. Career is a very small part of life. So you have to look at your life as a complete package and look at that and look at career as one of the means to take your life forward. Now, when this invitation came, various, as Maharaj said very clearly, that I was a little busy, and now also, because I am, apart from running, sitting at home, I have the other task of being in the central government and the government of Punjab's various committees to handle the current situation. So every day, meeting after meeting is going on. But when I saw the invitation is from Rahara Ramakrishna Mission, I had to say yes for two reasons. Firstly, because I am an alumnus of Ramakrishna Mission. I did my +2 and Narendrapur Ramakrishna Mission from 1978 to 1980, just before I joined Jadavpur University. The +2 courses I did at Narendrapur Ramakrishna Mission, I stayed at the Brahmanand Hostel, and it was a wonderful experience. I think that's an experience which has enriched me throughout my life, and you will understand the value of that not when you study there. The people who are there in Rahada or in Belur or in Narendrapur, you won't understand the value of that now. Probably it will require some amount of time to come to my age when you realize what is that which you really got there. So that's the first reason. The second reason is I also had friends who came from Ropar Ramakrishna Mission, from the school, not from the Vivekananda Centenary College, but from the school. There were a number of my friends. In fact, that was an amazing batch at Ramakrishna Mission Narendrapur. You know, the people who were studying in the same class in +2, all of them are stalwarts. For example, my classmate was Shubhashish Chaudhary, who is the director of IIT Bombay. I had coming from Ropar Ramakrishna Mission, Mr. Tapan Misra, who was now the advisor of ISRO, who was the head of the SAC, Satellite Application Center of Ahmedabad, ISRO. So all these people, they were our classmates, and I had a wonderful time learning from them, spending time with them, and I'm in touch with them even today. So these are the two reasons for which I could never say no to Ropar Ramakrishna Mission. But then coming back to the question of career, but before career, I would like to tell you something. As I said, career is a small part of your life. What is life? It's a deeper question. But at least, if you do not want to go to the deeper question, which is not the subject of today's discussion, but at least remember one thing, which Swamiji said. Probably I will first quote in Bengali, and then for the people who do not understand, I will translate into English. Swami Vivekananda said, জগতে যখন এসেছিস তখন একটা দাগ রেখে যা, নতুবা গাছ পাথরও তো মরছে, ওইরূপ জন্মাতে মরতে মানুষের কখনো ইচ্ছে হয় কি? So says that when you have come to this world, you leave a mark, leave a deep mark, because otherwise even the trees and the stones, they are also dying, they are also losing their identity. So just being born like that and being destroyed like that, is that the aim of life? That's what Swamiji is asking. Actually, quite often when you probably reading little bit of Swami Vivekananda's work, what you do not realize, he says very deep things in a very simple way. Because you see, what just in these two lines he said, that you are born like plants and dying like plants. This is exactly what in Kathopanishad Nachiketa says, Shashameva marte pachyate, Shashameva jayate puna. Like grains, food grains, you grow, and like food grains, you die. I mean, the people usually, they grow like food grains, die like food grains. And so, would you like to be that? So I will start your question of your career from here. Do you just be like everybody else, that you grow, you have a job, you earn some money, you enjoy certain things, and then one day you die? Would you like to be like that? Or would you like to leave a mark in this world? Now, you may say that, oh, that's a very big, keeping a mark in the world is a very, very difficult thing. You have to be famous. Not famous. I'm telling you from my own experience that even in Narendrapur Ramakrishna Mission, I was not at the top. Yes, I was not bad, but I had at least 10 people better than me. And so, everyone the God has sent with an intellect. And I will come back to this question of intellect later on. But they have sent, he has sent us with capabilities. And one of the ways to develop those capabilities is through your career. So what can be your career? How you can develop that, and how you can use that. Now, what you will use it for is a different thing. To become what? That probably we will discuss later at the end of this lecture. But let's come to the main point, which is, many of you must be thinking about, well, studying science in today's world, Is it worth? Will there be something for me to do? Shall I get a job? Will there be enough for my livelihood? Can I really graduate into something? The answer is yes, yes, and yes. See, one of the things I must tell you that at our time, I'm talking of the same batch, 1978 to 1980, plus two, and then in 80, we all got admitted to the degree courses. At our times, the best of the students used to go to pure science, not to engineering. I still remember in our batch of class 12, the topper was Sri Gautam Mandal, and number 2 was Somak Rajyotri. Interestingly, they were first and second in class 10 also. The same result in class 10 and class 12 was repeated. Same first Gautam Mandal, same second Somak Rajyotri in West Bengal. And those are the people who didn't study, who got all kinds of IIT and joint entrance and everything. They qualified with the top ranking, but they didn't go there. All of them went to Calcutta Presidency College to study physics. And today, Gautam is a professor in TIFR, Bombay, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. And Somak was, sometimes back, he was a dean of Presidency College. Now he is the director of IUCA in Pune. University Institute for Astrophysics and Astronomy. So what I'm trying to say that actually you need more intellect, you need better mental power, brilliance to do pure science than applied science. Because applied science, like engineering, etc., is nothing but an approximation of pure science. There is, more innovation, more fundamental questions, more understanding required in pure science. In fact, frankly speaking, I also wanted to be a physicist. I never wanted to be an engineer. Somehow I became an engineer, and still I repent. And if you ask me whether this is true, I'm telling you that in the whole lockdown period, apart from other things, my work, what did I do? I heard 31 lectures of quantum physics of V. Balakrishnan of IIT Madras. He is a very reputed person. He has got in YouTube 31 lectures, and I listened to all those lectures because it was my desire to learn quantum physics. And I took notes, and I'm trying to read books and all that at this age. Not because of anything, not that I'm going to do anything, but quantum physics is something so exciting. You cannot understand the world today without understanding quantum physics. And while doing quantum physics, I realized that I don't even know certain things of the basic physics, which is classical physics. So I went back, and after that 31 lectures, I listened to another 38 lectures of classical physics of Professor Balakrishnan. Now, this tells that it's very, very important for the whole world to understand physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology, statistics, whatever is there as basic sciences, from completely philosophical point of view. To understand the world, you have to understand that. But that's not the only reason. Today, even as a career, if we just forget all those things and we just concentrate on getting a better livelihood, a successful profession, a successful career, even there, pure science is as attractive, maybe in some cases even more attractive than applied sciences. And that's why I will come back to that. I will discuss where the opportunities are at the end of, I describe my description of how really the path in front of you should be very clearly understood and executed. For example, the first thing is the question you have to ask to yourself: why did I come to science, pure science? Those who are studying BSc, why did I come? Did I come for a job? Did I come for, well, I wanted to do something, but I couldn't do, so this was available to me, so I took this. And Are you confused? You don't know whether really to pursue science or to pursue something else. So this is one kind of a group of students. And I would say this is quite a large group of students who came to science. Well, they had scientific ideas, they had scientific queries, but more than that, people said if you do science, prospect of getting a job is more. The prospect of doing something at least is better. And so you took science. This is one group. Another group is you really liked science. You wanted to do something in science. You were interested in the fundamental principles that you studied in +2. And so you came to science. So clearly, there are three groups. One group came to science, loving it, knowing it, and wanted to do science. Another group came because people said science gives you better safety, security in career. And the third group, of course, confused, didn't know which way to go. And so, as one of the options, have taken science. Now, first thing is, those who thought that job prospects are better, that's why you came to science. Or you have other ideas, you didn't know where to go, you came to science. Now, the question to them is, in these 3 years, is there a transformation? Have you really started loving science? Because there are two areas, two types of careers where we, if you do not like it, if you don't love it, if you don't breathe in it, it becomes very difficult to carry on that one. One is pure science and one is medicine. In these two cases, at a later stage, you have to work much harder. And so you have to first ask yourself whether I have it in me. Do I love it that much? In fact, I have only one daughter, and my daughter is a doctor. And so when she chose to be a doctor, I asked the same question, that do you have that tenacity in you? You will be in the worst of the condition. You will be, frustrated. You have to work for sometimes 24 hours a day, maybe 48 hours a day. Do you love that profession so much that you can do it without grudging? If you have it, go for medicine. After seeing the academic world for more than 3 decades, I'm now a teacher for 34 years now, and I have seen science and engineering alike. In engineering, if you don't like it, still you can survive somehow, because there are many ways you can bifurcate, you can go this way, that way. In science, if you remain and if you want to be in pure science, you need a tremendous commitment. And that's why the group who were confused, who came to science because you wanted a job, first you ask to yourself that in last 3 years, whether that attitude has changed or not. If it has not changed, still you are just looking for a job. You are just looking for something to do, somehow to survive. Probably this is not the right path for you. So for them, I do not say this is anything bad. You are not convinced that you are a person to pursue high order of science, higher goals of science. If you are not for it, then probably you look at other opportunities. That opportunity can be civil services, for example. That can be changing to technology. There are many courses in which you start with the science, but you become a technologist. I know specifically in Calcutta Science College, Rajabaja Science College, there are courses like polymer technology, many other radio physics and all that, which is technology courses, but people from science can join there. There are some technology courses which are 3-year technology courses, even 2, one in instrumentation and one in food technology and biochemical engineering. So these courses, the science can join them. So you can also think about that if you find that I am not for pure science, take up a course, and all over India, there are many such courses in various universities, various technology institutes, where you can join for an MTech or even for a BTech and pursue it. There are many universities who, during the last decade, started courses like nanotechnology, MTech in nanotechnology, and so on. So, how to enter there? Different universities have different standards. Some has got direct admissions, admission tests. Some take you through gate and things like that. So, what I'm trying to say that if you think that you are more for applied sciences, you are not for pure sciences, you please decide that now and go for applied sciences. That's not bad. With a very good background in physics, chemistry, mathematics, or statistics, or say biology, you do have a very good prospect in those kinds of courses. And so please take that up. The other thing is those who are interested in things like IAS, etc. You start preparing right now. You may be taking an MSc course somewhere, but then you focus on that. Keep that only as a second option. Now I come to the real group who want to do science, who either got transformed from the first group, or right from the beginning you loved science, you wanted to do science, and you still want to do science. For them, let me tell you that there are enough opportunities for two reasons. Firstly, although it may appear that in science, number of posts available for research or for academic positions are less and the competition is high. Yes, it is the competition, which is really pretty tough. Quite high competition is there. But at the same time, I am sitting for selection of physics, chemistry, mathematics people for IIT Ropar. I am sitting in the chairman's chair and I am seeing the people, really, people who have got very strong fundamentals and a very good performance. They are not very large in number. The people, quite often I find, they have done an MSc, a PhD, and a postdoc abroad, and large number of papers, research papers, this, that. But when they come forward, and we have got the top experts sitting there, very basic fundamental questions are asked, they fall apart, which means that his basics are not good. So those who are really interested, whose basics or fundamentals are good, are still sought after very much in academia or research. Very much. We don't have many people in pure fundamental sciences who are really good. We don't have many of them. So people may be telling that competition is tough, this, that, but there is always place for the good ones, right? And the good ones doesn't mean you have to be the topper. In fact, in research, actually there was an article a couple of years back which says in research, it's not the top people, it's the people just below that who are better. Because the toppers are often are very methodical people who do not take risks. And research is all about taking risk. And researcher may be a little unmethodical, it doesn't matter. In fact, there is a joke, I still remember that I was in Germany, and that time the German professors, one of the students came and give me a recommendation. And the German professor said, "Oh, I don't like your work. I was not very impressed with you. Why you are taking a recommendation from me?" He said, no, I want to get a postdoc, so please give a recommendation. So he said, okay, come after 3 days. And 3 days later, professor wrote a recommendation letter and gave it to me. Dr. Das, can you find out whether the English is all right? Because Germans, their English is always not very good. So because this fellow had to, wanted to apply in United States, so he required a recommendation in English. So I read. I said, yeah, I made some small changes, but I said, Professor, you could have given this recommendation 3 days back. Why did you give it today? Why did you wait so long? He said, no, you read the thing. I have written whatever I had to write. I have written it very clearly. Now, he has written one thing there, that this person is very punctual. He comes in time and goes in time. And another sentence he writes that he is very obedient. He does whatever is told to him. And professor explained to me that has to read between lines. They will read from here, because a person who comes in time is fine. But if he goes in time, he is not a researcher. A researcher can never go in time. If he is absorbed in his research, how can he find out time and go in time? This is number one. And number two, he does whatever is told to him. That's not the task of researcher. Researcher has to think himself. He's not to only execute whatever the professor says. So whatever I had to tell him, I have written there. So that's what a researcher, a person who is going to go into deep science, they, even if they are little disorganized, it doesn't matter. Of course, basic discipline has to be there. But if they're a little bit disorganized, it really doesn't matter. But he or she has to be dedicated to that one. That's what is more important. And so what I'm trying to say is that if you are really good, if you have learned your basics very well, there will be enough opportunity for you as an academician, as a researcher. But that's not all. Even the industry today wants basic researchers. How? I'll come to that. But let me take up the next part of it, which is the people who love science, so they have to do an MSc. Now, I would say better than MSc, there is another prospect which you should try, which is, all the ICERs. Now, ICERs are emerging as powerhouse of Indian pure science. Previously there was only one, which is IISc Bangalore. So anybody who gets an admission in IISc Bangalore, of course, you should go there. Because if you look at pure science in India, probably that's the best place. But if you also get other places like these ICERs, they are coming up very well. All the ICERs. In fact, I personally know I am in the board of governors ICER Mohali. I came to know, I have got very good acquaintance with the director of ICER Kolkata, Professor Ropar, and even ICER Pune and ICER Thiruvananthapuram. I know them very well. These institutes are making big strides. They are galloping. And they are doing extremely well. You see, last couple of years, continuously they are getting Bhatnagar Awards. Bhatnagar Awards are the highest awards in science probably in this country. And they are getting from ICER. So ICERs are very good. I would suggest that you should go to ICER. And ICER doesn't have MSc program. They only have got MS PhD dual program. And this is even better. Because if you are in an institute, before taking PhD, you are already trained in this institute as MS. You start taking courses, you start understanding what kind of research is done. Then you have enough time to choose your guide and all that. I think it's even better. So that's why I would say that IISc Bangalore, of course, should be your first choice. But after that, you have to look at the ICERs as the next choice. Now, the other thing is, which is very, very important, the IITs, they have got MSc program, 2-year MSc program. Now, another question before coming to IITs, I would like to tell, why you have to do MSc? It's important to do MSc. In my opinion, even if you get a direct PhD offer, you should do an MSc. The reason being our education system. Ours is a 3-year bachelor degree course, which is not recognized by any country in the world. So if you want to go, anywhere for higher studies and all that, you will face a roadblock if you have got a 3-year bachelor degree. And that's the reason why you have to do an MSc, because they will consider your MSc as a bachelor degree, because everywhere in the world, there is only 4 degrees. There is no distinction between engineering, physics, or mathematics anywhere in the world. I have taught at MIT, I know it very well. And so what I'm trying to say is you have to do an MSc degree. Otherwise, in the world, you don't value. And that's the reason why you have to do a master degree, either MSc or MS. And for doing MSc, even IITs are very good options, because IIT started as technology institutes. But over the time, they realized, we actually started with IIT Kanpur, because IIT Kanpur first brought the tradition of science-based engineering education as their goal. And a great many scholars emerged from IIT Kanpur. In fact, Professor C.N.R. Rao started his career at IIT Kanpur. And there were many, even now, great people at the IIT Kanpur in the basic science departments. In fact, in our time, I remember we used to leave electronics and mechanical and all that, because our time computer science as a branch was not there. And people used to go 5-year integrated course on physics at IIT Kanpur. That was very, toppers used to go there. So that's why I'm saying that if you get an MSc in an IIT, it's great, because I know in all IITs, including Ropar, I know IIT Madras, I spent 20 years there, the MSc courses are extremely good. So if you get in IITs, it's also equally good. But don't think that only IIT, IISc, ISAT, these are the choices. Even our universities, some of the central universities, like University of Hyderabad, for example, and some of the state universities are also very good. I have got at IIT Ropar the students of Calcutta University who did their master degrees in Calcutta University, students who have done their master degrees in Bardwan University, Vidyasagar University. So don't think that, once you suppose you couldn't get in IISc or ISAR Mohali or, or say IITs, don't you think that, well, then your career is gone. See, I give this example quite often, that life, career, is not a 100-meter run. It's a marathon. What is the difference between 100-meter run and a marathon? See, in a 100-meter run, you have to start very well, because you are going to run for 9.5 seconds. So if you lose half a second at the beginning, you are gone. But in a marathon, have you ever seen that anybody focuses at the beginning? Because beginning doesn't matter. You have to run for 2.5 hours, 3 hours. So whether you lose half a second at the beginning, it really doesn't matter. The main fact is that whether you have got stamina to run for that long. For 40 kilometers, do you have stamina to run? So life is not 100-meter run. It is just, it's a marathon. See, I can give my own example. I studied in Jadavpur University. My BTech from there, MTech from there. Then I took a job in NIT Rourkela. And while doing the job, I did my PhD. So I didn't do either in IIT or IISc or any foreign universities. Even my PhD was from Sambalpur University, which nobody knows. I did that. But that did not stop me from becoming a professor of IIT, a dean of IIT, and a director of IIT, and a visiting professor of MIT. I was in MIT when there was an offer for me to stay back, to remain as MIT professor, but my country always called me. I never felt comfortable in those places, and always there was this call from my country, and I came back. But that's not the point. I'm not trying to prove that I'm great. What I'm trying to say, that without studying in any of these so-called top institutions, if I am in a position to lead a top institution of this country, you can also do it. Any one of you can do it. Where you begin is not important, like 100-meter run. Whether you come from Vidyasagar University or Calcutta University, it really doesn't matter. What matters is after that, what do you do? what kind of PhD you do, what kind of research you do, what postdoctoral research you do, and all that. So that is what matters. And that's the reason why I would say that while you try to get to IISc, ISR, IIT, etc., but even if you don't go there, the other universities, there are enough opportunities to do well from there as well. But what is important is that during these studies, your master degree studies, you must make your fundamentals very, very strong. See, during undergraduate, all of us, during undergraduate, we study, of course, but we do so many other things. We are not really focused because we have to do a lot of things which I don't like. But when you go to master degree, you have to plug your loopholes, the gaps which are left out. When I started my master degree, I realized that in some of the areas, my fundamentals are very shaky. And so in master degree and later on, the thing that I did first was to plug those loopholes. Even outside the institute curriculum, I used to study to gain understanding. Sometimes I read the undergraduate books once again, just to see that whether my fundamentals are good or not. So what I'm trying to say is that you have to do a master degree, not only because it is a 3-year course, but because if you really want to go to a science career, master degree is the first step, and probably you have to do a PhD also. And after PhD, really you can look for the rest of the career. I will come to after PhD, but what I'm trying to say again is, in my opinion, the integrated courses of MS PhD in ISR is a better option. Of course, if you go to get MSc also in IITs, and ISc, that's also equally good. But please do not think that your career is gone if you do not get there and you are studying an MSc course, say in Calcutta Presidency College or St. Xavier College or even Burdwan University or Vidyasagar University. Excellent teachers, excellent professors are there in fundamental sciences. And so please take it, whatever you get, and do it well. Plug your loopholes of fundamentals. Now, the next thing is that after that, what? When you build up the career, after that, after say you go up to PhD, and those who are going to science, please take it to your mind that you have to do a PhD. You have to do a PhD. You cannot stop at MSc also. So if you are doing PhD and you want to go for postdoc and all that, what are the options available? Now, very interesting. And this is what I was telling a couple of minutes back, that, where are the options? The options are, firstly, you can straight away go to teaching, something like college teaching and all that. But if you do a PhD, you have another option, which is very, very important in India today, which is corporate R&D. Now, this is something which was not known even 15, 20 years back, because India didn't produce anything basic, fundamental, right? We used to import everything almost. But slowly what has happened with the opening up of our economy and all that, not only that we have started producing, the moment the economy opened up, Indian companies started realizing that they cannot survive without bringing out new products. What does it mean? It means, see, when we were children, to buy a scooter, people had to wait for 3 years. They had to book a scooter, and after 3 years only you will get. And the same Bajaj scooter every day, every year it was coming. No change in their nuts and bolts, and you have to give a queue for 3 years. That was the scenario. Today's India is different. Today, if you want to buy a scooter, you need not have even money in pocket. You go there, they will arrange money, and every 6 months they are bringing a new model. Why? Because the competitors have come from abroad, and the Indian companies have realized that without excelling, without changing, without bringing out innovation, we cannot survive. And that's why Indian companies have started putting money in research. which was not there 15, 20 years back. The other thing is, even foreign companies have realized it is much better and cheaper to do innovations in India. See, there's a huge center of research for Intel in Bangalore. They have called me as a consultant for cooling of laptops. Next month we are going to sign an MOU that we will give a technology for laptop cooling to Intel. Why? Because they realize that there are talents here in this country. And so these talents, if they utilize at a much cheaper rate, they can get products developed in India. That's why not just this Intel, GE, Samsung, all multinationals, they have opened not only their manufacturing unit, they have opened their research units in India. And so there is a spurt in the number of research positions in R&D, what we call the corporate R&D. And that has taken place slowly over the last 15 years or so. In fact, when I was the dean in IIT Madras, I found out that I took 5 years statistics of where the PhD students are going. Actually, they are going 1/3 to postdoctoral, 1/3 straight away go to college or school teaching, and 1/3 go to corporate R&D. And this is what was 5 years back. Today, it's even more. I would say 40 to 45% are going to corporate R&D. And here, corporate R&D is looking at the whole thing as a package. And so, fundamental people are equally required. For example, I have got my own student who was a very good scholar, who I had, in collaboration, guided him. He was registered in chemistry department. He did PhD in chemistry. I was a co-guide. And the same fellow got a Prime Minister's fellowship. He was not one of the toppers. He came from, he did MSc in ISM Dhanbad, right? Chemistry MSc in ISM Dhanbad is nothing great. But he came from there and did PhD in IIT Madras chemistry department. And today he is working in a company called Thermax, who makes boilers, but they are getting into water purification industry. And this fellow is taken from there. So like that, I have seen a number of students from chemistry, physics, they are joining the corporate R&D. The other thing, what is coming for future? Government of India has said in next 5 years, they are going to spend 8,000 crore on research on quantum computing. This is going to be a very big area because quantum computing and quantum technologies, not just quantum computing, quantum devices, is going to come up in a big way. So we need physics people, we need chemistry people. Statistics we are not getting. In fact, I am not getting statistics faculty members for my mathematics department. We need mathematicians. And these are, I am not getting good mathematicians, good mathematics faculty. So what I am saying that if you are good, there is tremendous demand for you in the basic sciences. But one thing, you have to make your fundamentals very strong and then you have to perform. Probably we'll need 1 or 2 years more than an engineering graduate to get an engagement of your choice. But then you will be much more confident. I see today my science faculty members, younger faculty members of 32, 33, 35 years. My science faculty members are much more confident than the engineering faculty members because they have come after a very good postdoctoral research in the best countries around the world or even in this country. And so they are performing very well. So my dear friends, the main takeaway is this, that there are enough opportunities, and I have not even spoken about entrepreneurship. Many of the science graduates are also taking entrepreneurship, forming companies, bringing out ideas which they are implementing. After all, the science people can also do technology. The thing is, science people can do technology very well, but not the other way. Technology people can't do science because they don't have the training of science. That's why even an old man like me would like to get science, but I know my knowledge in science is pretty poor. Now, the thing is that whatever I have said, if I put one by one, it is like this. If you are not interested in science, you please choose another option and go away right now. Don't wait to see what happens. Because today there are many options. You please go there, because science is one area in which you must have passion. Then only we can do something in science. To do this science further, your next training is very important. So first look at the best institute that you are getting. And then, of course, choose a good program. But then, if you do not get the best institute, don't think that you are left behind. You will have opportunities coming in your own way. If you are persistent, if you are dedicated, it will happen to you. And please go to the depth and strengthen your basics. This is very, very important, whatever you do in future, whether you do MSc, whether you do PhD. If you are in science, your fundamental has to be rock solid. And so, with this, I am coming to the concluding part, which is very short, but I would like to tell you that at the beginning I told that leave a mark, what Swamiji said. And that is what is there in our ancient teachings. See, Upanishad, in Kathopanishad, there is a very famous example, kind of I would say a kind of allegory that they use is that of a chariot. What is a human being? A human being is a traveler in the chariot. What is that? The horses of the chariots are our five senses. The rein of what connects the horse to the charioteer, the driver of the chariot, the reins, those are our mind. And the chariot driver, the charioteer, is our intellect. And the chariot itself, the body of the chariot is my body, our body. But then, mistakenly we think, this is what I am. I am not that. You are not that. You are the traveler on the chariot. You are not the chariot. You are not the horses. You are not the rein. You are not even the chariot driver. Mind is not, see, that's why I said that intellect doesn't automatically mean that the man is the, with intellect, people can do the worst of the things, even. So, intellect and the human being, the Atman, are two different things. And that's why, when you decide that I have to have a successful career, you have to also start thinking of your life, not just the career. Why I am telling you? This is very, very important. When you start your career, you are, 21, 22 years old, young people. This may sound very, very, well, it's religious and it's philosophical and all that. It's not so. Actually, when you come to my age, even before that, the sooner you realize, better it is. That you have to realize the purpose of your life. What Swamiji says, that leave a mark. That mark is not how much money you gather. That mark is even not how much of fame you gather, how much of power you gather. These are the three things people are for. Power, enjoyment, money. You are only after that. But what is a real happy career? When you feel that I'm able to do something for the people, for the society, and for the nation, and at a bigger stage for humanity. If I'm able to do that, feeling is the greatest thing. Otherwise, you tell me one thing: why these big people like Bill Gates, etc., they say I will give 50% of my entire fortune. to charity. Why do they say that? Because at one point of time, they find that the thing that they have gathered and the way they have gathered is meaningless. In fact, it is useless to gather the things in an unscrupulous way throughout your career and then give it up in charity. It's of no use. Rather, you live the entire life in a much better way. And for that, while building this career, you have to understand that how it is going to come out, it's not in your hand. But if you do three things, it's going to be always good. Three things are in your hand. First, I call it 3 I's. I for intention. You must have good intention. That means if you are doing science, do science for discovering something, giving something to the mankind. The pleasure of doing science. Yes, you can even do just for the pleasure of doing science. That's good. But if you think that, by doing science, I will earn a huge amount of money, then the intention itself is wrong. So first I is intention. Second I is, initiative. You have very good intentions, but you don't do anything. There is a sloka we studied in class 10 in my Sanskrit courses. It says, Udyamena hi siddhanti karyani na manarathai na hi suptatsya sinyasya prabhisanti mukhamriya. That means only by initiative you get the things done, not just by thinking. Because even the lion has to go out and find out his prey. The animals will not come and enter his mouth. He has to go out and hunt it. So similarly, you have great intention, but you don't have udyam. You don't have initiatives. Nothing will happen. So the second part is initiative. Dedication is a part of initiative. But second I is initiative. But the last and the most important thing is, even after good intention, even after good initiative, you need to be honest. See, absolutely honest. And there should be, because this is in your hand. Now, if you put effort, what will be the result? We don't know. That's not in your hand. But making the effort is in your hand. Thinking with right intention is in your hand. And remaining honest is absolutely in your hand. It's not in anybody's hand. It's in your hand. So if you follow these 3 I's, don't think of the result. Results will automatically come. I tell you, this is in a different way it has come to my life personally. The very first day I joined as my first assignment in NIT, in those days it was called REC Silchar, remotest corner of the country in Assam. There I went to join as a lecturer. On that day, my father was with me. He is no more now. When I touched his feet, we were in a hotel. So in the morning, I was going to join. I touched his feet. My father told me one thing, which is, I still remember. He says, my dear son, remember one thing. First 15 to 20 years of your career, if you run after money, fame, and reputation, money, fame, and power, you will never get them. You will keep on running after them. Then I said, then what should I do? The first 10 to 15 years, you just learn your profession, love it, learn your profession. You will see one day it will happen that the money, fame, and power all will run behind you. You won't even have time to enjoy it. And such a prophetic word I have never heard in my life. It's true. So those who think that, oh, what will happen? What is their career in science? There are great careers. You be honest, and you pursue it with all your heart. You will see one day will come. All these things, what people crave for, they will run behind you. You will not run behind them, because that by that time you start thinking these are not the goals of life. See, the person is these are only the things which can give me the chariot and the horses. But I am something more than that. And to be that more than that, I need to do something greater, something for people, something for the earth, something for humanity I need to do. you will get into that mode. And that's when you really understand the value of education and your life will be a successful one. So, yes, I want you to be successful in career. I want you to be a great scientist or whatever profession you go to be great in that. I want that all of you should be great human beings. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful talk. There are some questions from the viewers. I'm just placing them before you. Sir, one question is there from Shubhajit Malik. He asks, I got MS PhD in Energy Science in IIT Mumbai, but I do not know much about this course. So please guide me what I would do. So this is his question,
This
sir.
is a very good course in the applied area. I can tell you, I know the people who run the energy sciences course there. One of them is Rangan Banerjee. I think he was head sometimes back, and I know how the course emerged between various disciplines. It's a very well drafted course, and an MS and PhD combined, offer in that. You should take it if you like an applied science. You can definitely take it. Career wise, it's a very it has got very good prospect for sure.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one more question has come from Swarnendu Saha. He asks, can I do my PhD in a topmost institute while doing a job in civil service? His related question is part-time PhD from research institutes like Bose Institute and HRI or SN Bose possible?
You see, I am a disapprover of part-time PhD. Okay, see, like this is something like, can I be a sannyasi and a grihi? You can't be. You have to be either of them, right? So you cannot do. See, in PhD, we expect complete dedication. I tell to my students, frankly speaking, I tell to my student, 24 hours you should think of the problem that you are trying to solve. Because please remember that in PhD, you have to do research work, you have to bring out something which nobody has done in this world. And for that, you need dedication. This part-time business doesn't work. I have seen there, some people do it. Only those cases it is successful when, I have seen people like from ISRO, scientists do PhD, when they take up a problem for which they work in ISRO itself. That is a part of his project also, job also. Then it works. Otherwise, being in civil services, doing PhD is just impossible. Either you don't do justice to civil service or you don't do justice to PhD.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one question from Padmanabha Dasgupta. He asks is there any conception that MSc Biotechnology from an IIT and PhD from abroad is given lesser importance than an integrated PhD course in IISc or ISERS regarding evaluation for a faculty employment in India?
See, this is what in faculty evaluation today. See, there was a time about 30 years back when people looked at where are you coming from. And in fact, it was pretty tough for me to get into IIT because in those days, IIT was only looking for people from abroad. But that era has ended at least 15 years back. And so today, people don't look at where you are coming from. It's not that this institute is better or that institute. From abroad means, there are many universities in abroad which are much inferior to IISc. So it doesn't go like that. People will look at what is your work, what is the quality of your publication, what is the citations of your publication. People will go by that. People won't go by simply the name of the institute. It's not so.
Yes, sir. So, thank you very much, sir. Sir, one student asks, how is MS and MSc different?
Okay. Well, you know, MS and MSc is different. To my opinion, is only by name. See, MS is a thing which is all over the world. They call any master degree as MS. Only in UK they still have MSc, and we followed a UK pattern, and that's why we also keep on calling MSc. But from practical point of view, there is hardly any difference between MSc and MS. It's by name, but it depends on which institute you are getting admitted. By name, MSc MS doesn't have a much of a difference.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, one more question has come from Vivek Garai. He asks, do the students who have a science background get any advantage in time of preparing for civil services?
No, fortunately or unfortunately, I also sat in the civil services interview board a couple of years back, and I interviewed a number of people for civil services. Actually, there nobody gets any advantage. For example, people will come from as diverse a background as commerce and medicine and engineering and pure science. Nobody gets any advantage. You have to be very prompt. You have to be analytical. You must have very good knowledge of current affairs, global happenings, politics, economy, and so on. So your general knowledge and general understanding has to be very strong. It really doesn't matter with what background you are coming.
Yes, sir. Sir, thank you, sir. Sir, one more question has come from Niladri Sarkar. He asks, what are the scopes after completion of BSc in computer sciences? What are the future prospects?
Well, BSc in computer science again has got that problem that if you get a job is fine, but the problem is that it's a 3-year course. So if you want to do any higher study, you will be in trouble. I would suggest that if you can do an MTech in computer science somewhere, okay, I don't know who will allow you to do that. If you can do an MTech in computer science, that may be a good option. Or you take, if it is possible, MSc in computer science, you do that and then do an MTech, or do an MSc in computer science and directly take a PhD admission in computer science. These are the options. Of course, you can go to job at any point of time.
Yes, sir. Sir Nilesh Mukherjee, he asks one question. Please discuss about the options available for botany after PhD for students pursuing botany.
See, students, botany is not my area. I won't be able to tell in detail. But one thing is for sure that if you do classical botany work, the scopes are limited today. You need to move to something which is related to botany. It can be, for example, medicinal chemistry line, or it can be even natural chemistry, or even plant genomics, things like that. You need to move little towards the current trends. The standard traditional botany, the scopes are quite limited. Let me tell you. As I see, because I don't see many of the people, because in India, even the number of institutes working seriously on botany are not very much. And that's why it is, it's for you to decide, but probably you need to consult a specialist to know which kind of a specialization you need to go to. Plant genomics, as I said, is one, but there are many such areas which are coming up, which is, because I'm not an expert, I cannot tell about that. You should consult a botany specialist about that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, one question from Sayan Das. He asks, I want to live a life of significance, not the life of success or life of dependence. So, what is the life of significance according to you, sir? Is it just a dream job?
No. See, life of significance is, see, how your life going to be. It depends on what kind of preparation you are doing. You see, for example, if you want to be a test match cricketer, then thousands and thousands of hours of practice should be there. Similarly, if you want to be significant, then what kind of significance you have to find out. For example, if you want significance in academics, that's one way. You can have other ways also. You can become an entrepreneur. You have an idea, you can become an entrepreneur. Even there, you can have life of significance. So first thing you have to decide what kind of significance you are looking at. And there is a 10,000 hour rule, very popularly known, that to become an expert in a field, you have to spend 10,000 hours of practice in that field. Then only you can become a reasonable expert in that. So keep that in mind. So choose an area, spend 10,000 hours on that significantly. You will become an expert and your doors will open from there. It doesn't open, with a degree or with a training. It all depends on what you do after that. That's what is important.
Thank you, sir. Anik Chatterjee, he asks, do you agree with the semester system of study course for BSc and MSc students? Or is it that they don't find much time to gain knowledge in this system?
Well, it's a question, I think, this semester system, yearly system, these are only how you are evaluated or how you are taught. Actually, nothing is better. Even there are trimester systems. I have taught in trimester system where there are only 3 months of classes for one subject and you finish it and then exams are there and over. So the system is not important. The question is how good it is taught, how, what are the standards of teaching. There are semester systems which have gone very wrong. There are yearly systems which has gone even worse. So it really doesn't depend on what the system is. It depends on how good the institution, what are the competence of the people who are teaching it. It all depends on that.
Yes, sir. Sir, one question from Swarnendu Saha. He asks, how are the integrated courses different from the normal ones?
Well, they are not really different, but in integrated courses, you start getting a direction for research right when you are doing an MSc. Right. And so you have an idea. You can even look at the people who are teaching you and you can understand who can really be a guide for me. You start developing interest in suppose you are doing a physics. Now, whether you will go to condensed matter physics or whether you will go to quantum physics or you will go to string theory, where would you like to go? If it is a course which is a condensed course, which is an integrated course, actually you can take one path, you put stress on one area more than the other, and then pursue that one. So it becomes little easier. Otherwise, again, just 2 years, you are in an institute, and then you take a call, and then you join an institute. You don't know about that institute. You don't know about the teachers. Again, you will take some time to adjust. You waste time. Whereas if you take an integrated course, you don't waste that time.
Yes, sir. Sir, one more question from Shubhajit Malik. He asks, sir, after doing PhD in energy science, what are the scopes in private and government sectors? Or I have to do R&D in any private company?
Your scope is infinite. It all depends on how you do this. See, there are excellent opportunities in private. There are opportunities in academics. There are government R&D labs. Everything is possible. It all depends on how you do it. Because if it is an integrated course, MS and PhD, it's a question of 5 years. Now, don't ask the question about what is going to be there on 2025. You will change. The world will change. Only thing that you try to do a good work at your PhD. All the doors will open to you. Don't worry about that. There is enough scope for you.
Sir, one question from Trambak Banerjee. He asks, currently I am applying for PG courses in few universities, but I am also interested in giving government job examinations. So I am confused about what I should do at this present moment. So he's confused, so he's asking.
This is what I told in the beginning, that if you are confused, it becomes very difficult. Because you are applying for PG courses at the same time you are applying for that. That means your whole concentration is neither going to this nor to that. So you first sit down. You first ask yourself what you want to do. If you are not convinced, as I said, the pure science and medicine are two areas in which, if you are not ready for that long marathon run, you should not go. Rather, you take the other route if you are not convinced about that. Because just by doing another course, nothing will happen. Rather, otherwise you do the other way. You take a master degree course just to keep touch with academics, and you spend most of your time, you go to coaching institute for competitive exams and all that. You go there, you put your main emphasis there. But if you want to do MSc seriously, then you have to do MSc seriously. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, one question from Gaurav Ghosh. He asks, what will you suggest the BSc final year students in this pandemic situation when the PG session is being delayed?
Doesn't matter. You see, life is long. This pandemic will be 6 months, 8 months, 1 year at best. That is nothing. No. Sometimes you think that you have lost some time. In fact, it happened to me when I was 2 years at REC Silchar. I was teaching there. I wanted to do my PhD because I was just MTech that time. I wanted to do my PhD, but I couldn't do because there was no guide, nothing, no instrument, equipment, anything. So after about 2 years, I switched over to REC Raurkela and I started doing my PhD. And what happened? One day I was sitting with my guide. My guide was only 5-6 years senior to me. So I told Dr. Sahu, I felt, these 2 years I have lost. He said, no, I could see the fire in you because those 2 years you could not do something. You were boiling with enthusiasm, with the urge of doing something. And what you have done in last 3 years is more than actually 4.5, 5 years work. And it is because those 2 years you could not do things, you had so much of drive. So essentially, if you have that drive, you will make it up. And that's the reason don't bother so much about this pandemic. It's not that you are only losing. Everybody is losing. Everybody who are competing with you, they are losing. Only those who will be able to take an advantage of that, who are mentally tough, who says, so what? I have lost 6 months. Others are also losing. When it comes back, I will bounce back. If you take that attitude, you will be successful. Nothing, this pandemic can do nothing to you.
Yes, sir. Sir, one more question from Padmanabha Dasgupta. He asks, sir, as per your advice, which one is a better career option to pursue between an integrated PhD at IISc or either Pune Mohali or MSc from IIT Bombay? This is his first question. And his second option is, if I want to pursue research and want to come back to India just like you afterwards, So between these two options, doing MSc at IIT Bombay, going abroad for research and coming back, and another is doing an integrated PhD at IISc or ISERS.
Okay. See, under the normal conditions, say if you would ask me this question 2 years back, I would have said that you can probably do at IIT Bombay and look at the top universities of the world and try to go there to do PhD. But today the scenario has changed. You know the American policy now. They do not want foreign students. They're actually, it is even more worse with pure sciences. And hence, if you do an MSc at IIT Bombay, probably you will be quite certain of getting a PhD in any of the IITs. But I would say if you get an integrated IISc masters and PhD, that's much better, because as a science institute, definitely IISc is better than any of the IITs. And hence, I would say in today's scenario, when the opportunities, the chances of getting a PhD admission with scholarship in a foreign university is quite bleak, particularly in the US. And everybody for the next 2 years will struggle with economy. So under that circumstances, I would say that today the option of IISc or ISER integrated course is a better one.
Thank you very much, sir, for answering so many questions from our viewers. So we are very grateful to you, sir. So we had a very nice time and very beautiful, useful talk from Professor Sarit Kumar Das, Director, IIT Ropar. So for sharing his wisdom and enlightening all of us, all our viewers from across the nation. And we have, many of you must have been really benefited by sir's various ideas and suggestions. So, sir, we express our gratitude to you for giving us so much time from your busy schedule and sharing your ideas with all of us. And we hope that in future also we'll get guidance and help and suggestions from you. And whenever possible, please visit our college at Rahara when you are coming this side. So after this situation becomes better, this pandemic situation becomes better, please visit us, and we are looking forward to again meet you soon. So thank you very much, sir, for your time and talk. Very nice talk. Thank you very much, sir. So namaste, sir. Thank you all our viewers and all those who have organized this webinar. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir, please stay on minute, sir. Sir, please stay on minute, sir.
Yes.
Please stay on minute.
Just a minute. Just a minute, sir. Just a minute.
Sir, actually.